My words are not intended to insult the innocent, but I know they will the guilty. People will try to cast doubt on individuals who speak tonight. Don't let yourselves be manipulated or intimidated by desperate, misguided people. Whether or not you like or dislike a speaker does not affect the validity of what they're saying. Neither does whether or not you dislike or like the claims affect the truth of a claim. So, well, why am I here? It doesn't take long mingling about in Yelm and surrounding communities to discover that many people around here are afraid to talk openly about their fears of what is referred to as RSE. The overall consensus seems to be, as long as they're not bothering me, I'll just leave them alone. The whispers in the community are spoken quietly, but with much uniformity, with underlying fear. Rumors are abundant, and the high priority of keeping secrets of what occurs behind the fence only fuels the fire. People began coming to me a few years ago with their concerns. As a community leader, that's what preachers are, and an advocate for the innocent, I cannot simply... Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Thanks, David. I cannot simply stand by and let hurt people continue to hurt if it's within my ability to do something. Hurting people? Yes. Hurting, manipulated, brainwashed, and controlled people. They're amongst us. People all around us live in fear because of their involvement with RSE. Highly intelligent, decent people have found themselves hurting and hopeless in the past, searching for something greater than their current lives were producing. Some of these people wound up here, investing in RSE. They were seeking the truth and were manipulated, brainwashed, and controlled instead. Eventually, sane people woke up from the nightmare and discovered that creating your own reality disguised under the cloak of half-truths and pseudoscience only leaves one dependent on an individual person. People seeking hope have found themselves even more hopeless in the end. Families and friendships have been shattered. Individuals are broken, no longer capable of critical thinking, and seriously lacking the ability to lighten up and have fun in life. Some are devastated emotionally, mentally, spiritually, socially, and financially, and they don't know where to go. They don't know who to call. They don't know what to do. And I don't have the permission nor the authority to officially represent the faith community leaders, but I stand before you as one of many in the faith community who will offer help, support, counseling, reprogramming, or whatever to hurting people. Yes, including hurting former and current members of RSE. Other faith-based community leaders in this community are with me in this endeavor and have said so. As my church has already been threatened, theirs may too. Nevertheless, we are not afraid of helping hurting people who reach out to us. What is so wrong with that? What's so bad about helping people who are hurting? Why is that such a threat? Yes, I'm very well aware of RSE's teachings that are overtly anti-church. Yes, I know I'm setting myself up for personal attacks. That's okay. I'm not afraid. And may my confidence and others embolden even more of you to stand up and help our neighbors, co-workers, family members, friends, and so forth, who would like to simply get their lives back. May I encourage you, don't look at former RSE students as gullible. Know that they were hurting people who never found what they were hoping to find an RSE. And now that they have been taught to think differently, or they've been rewired, so to speak, they just need some help reintegrating back into normalcy. I'm not here to pick a fight. No, I'm just one of many from the faith-based community. J.Z. Knight has proclaimed herself as anti-church. I've never proclaimed myself as anti-RSC or anti-Jay-Z. So the antagonism comes from the compound, not from me. When what I am and what I do is attacked, I will defend. And as many of you already know, I will do it with confidence and effectiveness. Know that my primary goal is not to undo RSE, yet certainly I intend to assist in undoing the damage that's been done to the families and individuals who come to me for help. I've met some of these, and they're good people. This community must recognize cries for help when they are screamed. And my hope is that we can generate an atmosphere where defecting and potentially defecting RSE students can find peace and comfort and feel safe. May we not be judgmental towards them, but loving, empathetic, and kind. That's ultimately why I'm here. I'm an advocate for a healthy community in Yelm. When people ask for my help in accomplishing this, I will stand and be counted. I'm here to help and protect the innocent, simply put. There are no lofty notions that I'm going to win over die-hard RSE mouthpieces who are here tonight. Yet I do believe that there are some former and current RSE students who need to hear this message. You have been talked down to long enough. You don't have to pretend anymore, and you are not as bad and unenlightened as you've been told. You don't have to be afraid anymore. There are those of us who will do whatever we can do to help you get on with your life. Spread the word. People want to help you and not judge you. To everyone here tonight, don't be afraid anymore. More and more are stepping up to help, and you don't have to be afraid anymore.
It just reminded me of something that I was talking about, the documents, conditions of participation document at RSE. There is legal help there for those of you that are worried about speaking up about your experiences and sharing those experiences. We are, and there are people, professionals here in the community that can advise you legally of the law of that document and your rights, where you stand with that. And that document, from all I understand, is not worth the paper it's written on. You can tear it up. And so that's available, and through contact through myself and through Jeff and a few others, will direct you to lawyers and whatever it takes. If that's what it takes for you to understand an aspect of what you feel locked into, then we'll help unlock that. This is an opportunity for Greg Simmons to come up and share 5 minutes, and I wish I could welcome you, Greg, but I don't, but here you go.
Wow. Now, my name is Greg Simmons, Marketing Director at Ramtha School since 1990. And I've estimated that about maybe 50 to 75,000 students have gone to classes organized by the school. So I'm confident tonight because there's not that many people who've been dissatisfied by the school, at least as we've seen it so far, given the amount of students that have gone through these classes. 50 years ago, 75% of the people in Europe went to church consistently or some religious service. That percentage is now 25%. That's a disgruntled group. A few students? Not so. Would we love the school to be what every student wants? Of course we would. But that seems unrealistic in these times. If there's a destructive aspect to organizations, I would look way beyond RSE to much more mainstream type of religious organizations. We don't have to go any further than the Catholic Church. And how about every Sunday when we have the evangelical preachers telling their audience that if you don't follow the doctrines of the church and if you don't take Jesus as your personal Savior, you're going to burn forever in hell. And what kind of a pep talk is that every Sunday? These, what I would call, so much more destructive than a school that has a handful of disgruntled students. So do we have cults in our neighborhood? Yeah, I think we do. But RSE is not one of them because a few disgruntled students didn't get what they wanted. Thank you.
I've got something to say, but I'm going to leave that for Joe. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, that was quite a speech. Thank you. I'm not the Pope, but I am a Catholic. I'm not here to preach about the church. What I find interesting regarding what Greg just spouted out there often comes out of other cult members from hundreds of other groups that I've examined, and it's the same stereotypical litany of accusations against a big organization. You could pick Hindu, the Goswami tradition, if you wanted to. It's another big organization with a big target, a lot of abuses over the years, and within it also, among certain individuals. I'm not here to defend it. If you really want to know the true history of Christianity and how it's affected the Western world, I'd recommend, for instance, Rodney Stark's recent wonderful book called The Victory of Reason. And you'll get a pretty good idea by a scholar who's researched this, unlike Mr. Simmons here, I don't think has really researched this issue, about what the Christian tradition has done for the Western, despite its, problems and some of the history of the Inquisition and all of that. There's another side to that. So, read Rodney Stark's book, and I think you'll get another point of view. You don't need it from me. We have one other order of business that I think someone's requested for us to cover here for a few minutes prior to opening it up to more question and answer. And I already have a few cards here, which I'll try to address. Christa and Sanford Anderson have something they'd like to address regarding a litigation that's going on between their small effort in a spiritual teaching organization and their conflict with a much larger group, the Ramtha School of Enlightenment. Would you like, one of you like to come up?
Hi there, I'm Christa from the Art of Life Coaching, a coaching company located in Lacey. As many of you know, JZK Inc. sued Art of Life Coaching last August 2006 on the grounds that we violated the conditions of participation that were spoken about earlier tonight. We began our defense in this case, of course, to protect our own business. We stand here tonight recognizing that much more is at stake. We are not here arguing as victims. We don't believe anyone's a victim of anyone. We are really here to argue for the unlimited potential of every one of us involved in this story. We believe that this case right now, first of all, is not a case that's going to succeed because the conditions of participation are not enforceable. We also believe that at this point, the way the case is being conducted is interfering with freedoms of speech, freedoms of the right to assembly, and freedoms of the right to expression of religion. We're asking for support from any of you who are so willing to give stories of similar interference that you have either experienced or know about from other people. For instance, if you signed the conditions of participation and were later told you were in violation of them, or if you were threatened in any way for participation anywhere, or for supporting Art of Life coaching if you happen to be connected there, we would like to know that. We have a handout on the back table. It's the only one I think that's white on the end of the table that has that, the questions that we're asking and a place for you to offer us the information. You can offer it either there or by contacting us by phone or website at a later time. You want to add something?
Yeah, we are going to have this up on our website called defendagainstrsc.com within about 2 days, if you want to check for that. And we would appreciate if you know of other people who would be interested or possibly be supportive of this and want that information to forward the link to them through email or however you want to do it. But we're very interested to gather any information as described in this handout that either you have to offer or know of other people who might come forward. We're also would be happy to receive any contributions or donations toward this lawsuit, which has become extremely expensive because of the very aggressive nature of JCK's legal action against us. You can contribute either to us or to our legal firm, and that's all described in the handout back there. So we thank you very much for your attendance and any support that you can give us in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for entertaining that. They felt they had a need to express their situation. I'm going to answer a couple questions that were handed out. If people have particular questions they'd like to ask aloud, you can come to the mic or from your seat. I think we can hear you, but we might prefer the mic if so it can be picked up by the cameras. And please address it to a specific person who you would like to answer it, unless it's a general question that one of us might be able to answer. Someone wrote this on a card, why are your teachings secret? And I'm assuming it's addressed to the RSC, not to me, because I don't have any secret teachings. It's a mystery school. They have a right to their secret teachings. And if they don't want to tell people what they are, that is their right under the First Amendment. The problem with secret teachings, of course, is that they often leak out by disgruntled ex-members, and they post them on the Internet, and they get out there anyway. So maybe they're not so secret after all. So perhaps maybe transparency right from the beginning might be a really good idea for all of these groups. There's a second comment here. Why do people pay so much money to attend events, leave work and friends and family? I mean, that's a broad question, and I don't intend to give you a clear answer to that right now. But I began my career as a young adult as an artist, as a fine artist, and I made a lot of my living from that. And one of the statements back in the late 60s by the writer Marshall McLuhan, a Canadian sociologist and anthropologist, he wrote in his book, The Medium is the Massage. And there was a quote in there that said, art is anything you can get away with. And I'd like to paraphrase that and say religion in America is anything you can get away with. So, if you can get away with getting people to pay a lot of money for what seems like a scam or metaphysical snake oil, well, apparently there's room for that here. The only way to stop it, and we talked about this on the radio program yesterday, is really about educating the public. It's an information game. It's one which the frontal lobe of the neocortex, which gives us our personality and our ability to think and stop and think and sort things out properly, to use doubt wisely. We have to engage that part of ourselves, and that's what helps us to avoid the metaphysical snake oil or buying into it. My job as an exit counselor, that's what I see I do. I try to expand people's consciousness, expand their awareness, expand their resources. Get that frontal lobe moving, use the brain. Don't turn it off. It's not a monkey mind. It does a lot more than just get in the way of you and God. So there's just one more I'll entertain here. Why do you hide behind a fence? Again, same answer. People have a right to stay behind a fence if they want to. I don't know whether they're hiding or not. Obviously, they're hiding something because they only let so many people in. They don't want certain information to go out. But again, you could say that's their right. However, when it does leak out and it looks like something is being done that's wrong, well, then it's the duty of good citizens to try to address that in any legal way they can. And I think that's what a lot of these people are trying to do that are former members or critics of the organization. If you don't like that, well, welcome to America. We have an open market here regarding ideas, religious experimentation. We also have the right to protest when we think something is wrong. I think that's part of the spirit of what's going on here. Okay, go ahead.
I want to know if the fence is for the fox hunts that I've heard about from living in this area my whole life. And I want to know about the lizard people that live in the ground. And I want to know where Ramtha, did she retire when all this started coming out?
I'm glad you asked that. I've been waiting for...
There's a lot of other disgruntled Ramsters around that don't want to come out because it's like somebody being on TV that's been conned by a man that took all their money.
Yeah.
And I want to know if they think they have the monopoly on Enlightenment. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Yes, to that.
I just want to...
Is that what the fences are for?
Yeah.
Come on, there's a lot of questions by people that have lived around here forever.
There was a young man sitting there that threw a question at me. It was more of a statement. And he was nodding his head when Alexandra was talking about the lizard people. He was going, that never happened. Oh, yes, it did. There were lizard people coming to eat us in 1990.
That's what I heard.
Am I, Greg?
Yeah, like that. I don't remember.
Oh, of course you don't. I wouldn't remember either if I was promoting that. But yeah, there was lizard people coming, Jehovah, with the lizard people, I'm not lying here.
Isn't there copper around people's houses to keep the lizard people away?
It's worse than that. But, nobody sane would do that unless you've lost your critical thinking.
Right.
And that's what happens to us.
And has Ramtha retired?
Well, when he's got enough money. And that will never happen.
Oh, I heard you.
I just wanted to take 1 minute because there's something I couldn't let slide. I mean, besides the disgruntled, employee routine, which is kind of normal in that kind of situation, it's the figures of the 50 to 75,000 people who have been to the school. Was that correct? Is it 50 or is it 75?
No, that's my estimate.
Oh, it's your estimate. How did you get that estimate?
I've been here long enough.
Oh, so you're just estimating by half? Oh, it could be more. Could it be more? That's right. So let's just say there's 75,000 people who have been through this school of enlightenment. That he's trying to say these are just a few of the 75,000. Now, 75,000 people have successfully gone through this school of enlightenment. And they have become the gods that they say that you can become. They have healed their cancers. They have healed their broken bones. They have grown their new teeth. They have done everything that they claim. And I haven't even begun. That's just a little tiny grain of sand of what they claim. If they have, where are they? Why haven't we heard of this? I mean, at least one of them would have made it on Oprah, right?
He wants to go and levitate or something.
Yeah, I mean, But this is what cons do. They use numbers. They use smear tactics. And they think because they can do it like this and say it like this, that it's okay. And normally, I tell you what, it is okay. Unless people stand up and unless people call them on what they say, And unless people ask him, where's the beef? Where?
There is something that I forgot to mention when I was speaking earlier, and I wanted to address it. One of the things, other sort of things that happened that kind of opened my eyes was after 9/11, and then the whole anthrax thing was going around, and we were burning our mail. Well, I wasn't burning my mail, but I was going cautiously to the mailbox. But we were instructed to burn our mail, and don't. All these different ways to, supposedly stay safe. And, we had left the school, but, it was a tumultuous time when we thought, you know what, there was an event called in November 2001 where basically we were going to be told everything Ramtha had said at a previous event that, the ways to keep yourself and your family safe. And, we thought, I don't really buy it, but, it wouldn't hurt to hear what, they've got to say and take it into account. So my husband and I went, and we were sitting relatively close to the stage, and Greg was giving this, talk about all the things to do, burn your mail, touch it only with latex gloves, and no, microwaving is probably not enough. You actually do burn it, that's what Ramtha said, and the thing that, there's a whole host of stuff, okay, but the thing that sort of stuck was, don't eat oranges. Don't buy orange juice. Don't, eat canned oranges. Just nothing citrus, okay? Because remember, there was some suspicion about crop dusters in Florida, and, that's where we get a lot of our oranges from. And so we're sitting there, and it was opened up to question and answer, and, people wanting to get clarity on what were the real instructions. And so we're sitting there looking at each other, and my husband raised his hand, and he's like, because we've talked about this, and he's like, so, explain, because oranges that have been canned, right, they've been in those cans, they have a shelf life of 10, 15 years. They've been on those shelves. What you're getting now is probably at least 3 or 4 years old. How is that contaminated with anthrax? And how do we not know that people have been dying from this stuff? And posed the question, and Greg didn't fully answer it, and we're kind of sitting there with a group of us, and we're going like, but hang on, what are you talking about? Like, this isn't making any sense. And Greg stops and he points at me and says, we don't question. When the master teacher speaks, we don't question. I don't know if you remember that, but it was so clear, and it was so like, I'm looking like, it's talking to me. And it was, I knew exactly why he pointed to me, because the whole controversy that was going on with my dad and him requesting the proof that was never going to come. And he was questioning, and, when the master teacher speaks, we don't question. You can't really get much clearer than that. And, I don't know, I didn't go to that school because I didn't want to question. To me, nothing was off limits as far as questioning, but yet, the not so obvious ways that we're instructed or, it's conveyed that you really don't take things too far in terms of questioning, that wasn't obvious. But there's so many more ways that it's, very kind of subtle, and you end up doing it to yourself because you don't want doubt to creep in, and you let doubt creep in, you undo all the work that you've been trying to do. And, my question is, if it's really that valid, it can stand to be examined and questioned. Anything that is that true can be dissected, and it should stand up. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention. And I don't know, I'd be glad if people ask more questions, but just wanted to make people aware that Bodhananda, the person that I came here with, died 3 years ago. And he died of cancer. And he died alone. His supposed friends, let him scream in agony for 2 weeks, while, this was a person, if anybody knew him, this was not a person who would scream in pain over anything. if he was screaming in pain, there was something seriously wrong. Where was the compassion there, or the common sense, or the, whatever you want to say about him. And I hadn't spoken to him for 3 years at that point when he was dying, because there wasn't really much to say. But whatever you want to say about him, you don't treat anybody that way. You don't treat your worst enemy that way. And I see that as, people washing their hands of the common decency that we extend to people when you have half a heart. And that can only happen when you kind of shut down a part of yourself that is natural, is just instinctive.